Hello and welcome to 𝐿𝐭𝐴 Serie A Matchday 7. We have Napoli and Roma, Leo, on top of the table after the international break, and probably Milan deserved much more against Juventus, but I think we should take this Milan very seriously.
We should, Edu. And to be honest, I absolutely agree. They should have taken the 3 points in Turin. Pulisic missing a penalty in the second half. Rafa Leao missing an open goal. It was a tap-in, and he missed it. Incredible. Yes, they should have taken the 3 points. One of the big surprises, definitely, Milan, because I was not expecting this level from Max Allegri's team.
Great, Max Allegri. As always, well, we have great games, especially Roma Inter in this match day 7. So, guys, stay with us. International break is over, and now we are going to analyze everything in Italy. Don't forget to press the like, to subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. And let's start with the games we have on Saturday. Leo, we have 4. We have Pisa, Verona to start with. Very important for the relegation battle because it's 2 of the worst teams so far in the Serie A. Only 5 goals scored among both of them. Verona, 3 points, winless. The best result was a point against Juventus. Pisa, Leo, only 2 points, and they were thrashed by Bologna before the break.
Yeah, absolutely, Edu. It's not the most glamorous fixture to restart Serie A after the international break, but yes, a very important one for both sides. As you mentioned, both winless, but the situations differ a little bit, I would say, because when you think Verona, if there is something they know is how to play in the mud of the relegation battle. Last season finishing 6 points above the red zone. 2 years ago was 3 points the distance with the Abyss. 3 seasons ago they had to play a relegation playoff against Spezia to stay in Serie A. But for Pisa, it's different the situation. They have been promoted after 30 years, and the thrashing defeat away with Bologna was the first shock of the season, I would say. Before that, they drew with Atalanta, they drew in the derby with Fiorentina, and they lost by a single margin with Roma, Udinese, and even Napoli. So it's going to be an interesting test for them. Verona, I would say, they were a little bit unlucky probably in their defeat with the Sassuolo at home. They created enough. Giovanni Nascimento, the Brazilian forward, had 5 shots on goal on that game, but he's still trying to score the first goal for Verona in Serie A. They were unlucky as well because Pinamonti's penalty was saved by Sassuolo, but then Pinamonti saved Sassuolo's penalty, but then they scored in the rebound. I'm surprised with the odds, to be honest, with Pisa as favorite. Difficult to see goals. You said it. Pisa 3 goals in 6 games. Verona 3 goals in 6 games. My take here, Edu, goals under 2.5, odds of 1.63.
Again, only 5 goals scored between these two teams, so it should be an under. This is the classic, Leo, both teams to lose, indeed. Another relegation 6-pointer is Lecce. Sassuolo, although Sassuolo are doing great. 9 points, 3 wins is a great start of the season. They beat Verona and Udinese in the last 2 games with Pinamonti, the player that you mentioned as a key player. Sassuolo was not among the favorites to go down despite being a newly promoted team. And indeed, they are doing good things. And for Lecce is 5 points, Leo, but was a big relief the first win of the season in Parma.
Absolutely, and we have here another relegation battle, 6-pointer, with these both teams anyway winning before the break, and both away from home, which is always good. For Lecce was Riccardo Sotil, the winger on loan from Fiorentina, the one who scored his first goal with the club to give them the 3 points at the Ennio Tardini. And for Lecce, the last 2 match days actually were good because they were at the back. It's 4 points out of 6. They were at the back of a draw with Bologna on match day 5. For Sassuolo was different because the 1-0 against Verona was the third win in the season. season. No draws for them. And as I mentioned before, anyway, probably a draw should have been a fair result with Verona. But Danilo Verdi did it without Domenico Berardi, who was a surprise absence because he didn't even make the bench because of a muscle injury. Probably we need to find in Berardi's absence the reason why Sassuolo struggled to create goal opportunities. In attack, they rely on the captain's creativity and also on the set-piece threat. He's still a doubt for Saturday. For Lecce, Camarda, who scored against Bologna, did not start, but then he came on in the second half and did well. During the break, he was with Italy under-21s, and he has chances to be on the starting lineup on Saturday. Anyway, Domenico Di Francesco is giving chances to Camarda up front, also to 𝐿𝐵𝐿𝐴, who is a Serbian who also arrived to replace 𝐿𝐵𝐿. High odds both ways here, Edu, very similar ones. The book is probably pointing to a draw. Again, I'm not expecting here goals or not too many. That's why my take, both teams to score no, odds of 1.91.
Let's try to go to more glamorous games. And we go to Torino. Napoli. Napoli suffered a lot to stay on top of the table, beating Genoa 2-1. I think the south of Italy is feeling really, really well for 𝐿𝐵𝐿, or at least leaving Manchester, Leo, is always a relief for many players.
Absolutely.
And 𝐿𝐵𝐿 is scoring and giving Napoli the points they need. And Torino is 5 points only. The win against Roma, but also they grabbed a draw against Lazio in a crazy game. They conceded a penalty in the 103rd minute.
That was an incredible game, Edu. Those two goals on added time. Torino to be ahead 3-2, then Lazio equalizing, as you mentioned, in the 103 to make it a 3-3. And you said it seems to be good to leave Manchester for the Serie A. I would say it seems to be good to leave the Premier League for the Serie A because you can add, if you want, 𝗵𝐵𝐿𝐴 Tomori, Tammy Abraham, Loftus-Cheek, Che Adams, Billy Gilmour, then the amazing case of Scott McTominay becoming the best player last season in Serie A. Of course, Kevin De Bruyne probably does not matter the league. He's just generation and talent. But now Rasmus Højlund, yes. The best, I would say, I don't think I'm going too far, but it was his best week before the break, probably since he left Atalanta 3 years ago. He scored a brace with the Sporting in the Champions League and then the winning goal with Genoa. He has already 4 goals in his first 6 games with the Partenopi. You could tell the second half with Genoa that Napoli were feeling tired, feeling the demands of playing every 3 days this season, and also while having many injured players at the same time. But despite them being tired, they keep pushing, they pressed, they asphyxiated Genoa, and they had Kevin De Bruyne coming from the bench, who made a big difference. McTominay may be struggling a little bit compared to last season. He scored on Sunday night against Belarus in the qualifiers for Scotland, but still he did well. And also 𝗵𝗿𝗀 and 𝗪𝐵𝐴 in midfield had a good game, and 𝗪𝐵𝐴 always arriving to the box. He scored the equalizer. It was his shot on goal that produced the rebound for 𝐿𝐵𝐿 to score the winning one. The issues with injuries is not going to go away because 𝗵𝗿𝗀 now is out for 3-4 weeks. The same for Politano, meaning that they will miss the games with Torino now, but also with Inter and Eintracht Frankfurt in the Champions League. Then on the international break, Banja Milenkovic-Savic, the goalkeeper, also had to be withdrawn, and he's in doubt as well for the Torino game. Probably we're gonna see Alex Meret in goal for Napoli. And yes, Torino, well, as we said, they are at the back of that incredible 3-3. Simeone scoring again at the Olimpico. He has 2 goals this season, and both at the Olimpico, one against Roma, one against Lazio. They have conceded the most goals this season, Torino, 13 goals, and 10 of them have been away from home. In Turin, they haven't scored a single goal yet in 3 games. The odds on Napoli are good, 1.75. I know there is Champions League football 72 hours after for Napoli, and that could always mentally change things sometimes. But even despite the injuries, even despite they're going to be playing Champions League football after 3 days, I think they still have enough, Edu, to do it in Turin. That's why my take is Napoli to win 1.75.
Well, Leo, we have a new tool in Oddspedia. It's called Smart Bet, giving tips in our website thanks to the AI, combining a lot of data points. And for this game, our Smart Bet tool is giving us the double chance for Torino as 2.2 as a tip, and also goals under 3.5. So the AI is telling us that we might see a surprise here. I'm gonna let you know many times what our Oddspedia new tool is telling us with the tips, Smart Bet. Let's see what they say also about Roma Inter. Great game, this one, the best we have in this match day. Roma, joint leaders of this Serie A. Remember, they've won all the games but one. The defeat against Torino, only 2 goals conceded. This is the key of success for Gasperini. But now for this game, Leo, they are the underdog, and probably is because the recent history between these two teams. No wins for Roma at home in the last 8 years, and it's curious also because the two defeats they had this season came at home, one in Europe, one in Serie A. And for Inter is a team that has improved after the defeat against Juventus, including 2 big wins before the break against Cremonese and Slavia Prague.
Yes, they have recovered Edu good feelings. Inter definitely with that win against Cagliari, then thrashing against Cremonese, the win you mentioned in the Champions League against Slavia Prague. Lautaro Martinez scoring 4 goals in the last 3 games. With Cremonese, the games lasted, half an hour only, which was what took Inter to score twice. They have actually scored 3 times by that time, but Di Marco's goal was ruled out by the VAR. Boni, the striker who arrived from Parma, had his first start and scored that second goal in the first half. They seem a little bit or quite reborn, this Inter at this time. And they are at the door of another big week. Roma, Union Saint-Gilloise, and the following match day is Napoli for Inter. And definitely this is the best game in Serie A, and probably one of the best in Europe. The next weekend, probably you will have Liverpool, Manchester United, and this Roma Inter is not too far. That win in Firenze before the break was very good for Roma. Again, Mattias 𝐜𝐭𝐿, the best player for the giallorossi. I remember on the last show I said that it was going to be unfair if he was not being picked up by Scaloni. Well, that happened. He's watching the friendlies on TV. Then his agent went public criticizing Scaloni, and there is a chance he switches play for Italy. He can still do it. I personally cannot believe that Argentina will allow this to happen, to lose a player of his talent. I understand that Scaloni has Paz, Almada, Mastantuono in that position, but not even giving him a chance. That's what is for me a little bit crazy. He scored the 𝐜𝐭𝐿 in Firenze. He assisted Cristante for the winning goal. He has 3 goals and 2 assists so far this season. His best tally in Serie A is 11 goals for Frosinone 2 seasons ago. Last season he scored 5 goals for Roma, and all of them were in the last 3 months of the competition. I think that he will reach double digits this season if he stays out of injuries. And talking about injuries, Gasperini, who keeps trying to bring the expectations down, saying that his Roma is not Champions League material. They have Bailey and Dybala returning. If it's not for Inter, at least against Victoria Pilsen in the Europa League. Angelino did not play with Fiorentina, but he will be back against the Nerazzurri, and it's another good news for Roma. Both teams to score yes is at 1.80, which is something that shouldn't be overlooked. Roma double chance 1.57, not too bad, but you mentioned the record for Roma at the Olimpico against Inter in the last 8 years. So I will go for the individual market here, Edu. My take will be either Mattias 𝐜𝐿 to score or to assist, or Lautaro Martinez to score or to assist. For 𝐜𝐿 is 3.1. For Lautaro is 2.3. And remember, Il Toro scored the winning goal last season for Inter at the Olimpico, and it was 𝐿𝐵 actually who scored the winning goal for Roma at San Siro last season. So for me, either 𝐿𝐵 or Lautaro Martinez should score or to assist.
All right, our tool is also sitting on the fence in the 1x2 market. They are going for total corners under 10 and total goals over 1.5 only. So this is a tough game to predict. The odds are really high. Great game. This one is been years and years without seeing Roma this high on the table in October. So cheers to them. On Sunday, we have a great game at the Lake Como. Juventus, tough test. This one for Juventus. They saved a point against Milan. As we said, probably they should have lost that game. It's 5 consecutive draws across all competitions. And this one, Leo, shouldn't be easy. Again, Como draw in the last 2 games against Atalanta and Cremonese. And it's only 1 defeat in the season was against Bologna.
Look, Edu, there are only 2 teams so far this season who haven't tasted defeat, and one of them is Juventus. The other one is Atalanta, which is in a way good, yes, but at the same time comes with a bit of deja vu, I would say, because it was the same with 𝐿𝐵𝗵𝗀 last season. Juventus lost for the first time on Matchday 22 against Napoli last season, and by the end they were not fighting for the title, and they sacked their manager. In the middle, of course, they drew many games, as is happening now. In Serie A is 3 wins and 3 draws. And the last one before the break with Milan, I'm going to say it again, they were closer to lose it than to win it, with Pulisic missing that penalty. Michele Di Gregorio was Juventus' best player on that night. Jonathan David started and was poor again. He keeps struggling. The goal he scored against Parma in August in his debut remains his only celebration. The problem for him is twofold, because Juventus is not creating many chances for him, but the ones he's having, he's missing them. He had one clear with Villarreal. He started also in that Champions League game and could not find the back of the net. With Milan, the same. I guess he's still trying to adapt. In fairness, with Lille, he used to find many more chances to score. He was very much involved in the attacking play. With Milan, Jonathan David touched the ball 16 times only. In 69 minutes, he was on the pitch. It's true, in Italy, some analysts are pointing to the fact that him not settling quick is not something new in his career, because at Ghent he did not score his first goal until December, and with Lille it took like 3 months for him to score his first goal in Ligue 1. At the Lake, we will see who Tudor chooses to start against Como, that is having their own inconsistency in this start of the season. With another draw before the break, in that case against Atalanta. 𝐿𝐵𝗵𝗀 started for the first time with Argentina against Venezuela, and he had a good game. 𝐿𝐵𝗵𝗀, who actually received great words from Totti, who said that the Argentine is the only player he watches in Serie A. Last time at the Lake with Juventus, Como started ahead, but then Juventus ended up with the 3 points. I think Como is better prepared this time. That's why my take is Como double chance combined with goals over 1.5, odds of 2.15.
The draw, of course, is also a good option, 3.6. Next one is Cagliari, Bologna. Bologna, they should grow, I think, during the season, 10 points already after that big result against Pisa, and the draw away against Lecce in their last trip. And Cagliari, 8 points. Leo, is not a bad start for a team that should be fighting against relegation, but I don't think they are going to be in the battle.
No, it doesn't seem, to be honest, Edu. And especially when they as well play at home, they're in Sardinia, they make themselves strong. And for Bologna, yes, they are rediscovering form as well. Emphatic win for the Rossoblù, Matchday 6 against Pisa. Everything was decided in 6 minutes, because Bologna was winning with an early goal from 𝐿𝐵𝗵𝗀, and then in the 36 minutes, Pisa down to 10 men. 2 minutes later, the 2-0 for Bologna, and 2 minutes after that, the 3-0 before the break. Second consecutive game for Orsolini and 𝐜𝐵𝗀𝗀 scoring for Bologna. widely reported as well in Italy that Chelsea scouts attended that win to follow Santi Castro. Strange, but well, everything surrounding Chelsea is weird in the last 2 or 3 years. 𝐿𝐵𝐼𝐻 got his first national call-up, Bologna's winger. He had to suffer last season because he had a bad injury at the start of the campaign and he missed like 6-7 months of the competitions. But since he's returned in February this year, became an integral part for 𝗵𝐵icienzo Italiano. This season he has 1 goal and 1 assist to his name. The last few days we got to know that 𝗀𝗶𝐿, the Colombian centre half who was pushing to exit for Sunderland this summer, is about to extend his contract, which should bring some stability at the back for Italiano. Yes, this trip to Sardinia won't be easy for Bologna. 1 defeat at home for them only, as well for Cagliari, and that was against Inter, so nothing extraordinary. The player with the second most shots on goal of the season is Riccardo Orsolini, Bologna's attacker, with 10. Orsolini to score any time is at 2.5. On the other hand, Caprile, Cagliari's goalkeeper, who could move to Milan next season, is the 5th on the table of most saves. I see close games, Edu, in terms of scoreline, but I can see goals here in Sardinia, a game potentially opening in the second half. With that in mind, first half draw has odds of 2.1, or second half goals over 1.5, odds of 2.5. Those two are good options, I would say. But my take is goals over 2.5 overall, odds of 2.27.
Genoa Parma is the next game. This one also for the relegation battle. Both are not doing great in this start of the season, especially Genoa. Only 2 points, only 3 goals scored. One of those against Napoli in the last weekend. And Parma lost to Lecce after beating Torino 2-1. Is only 1 win in this season. So also 2 teams, Leo, that are struggling a lot to score goals.
Yes, absolutely. And you mentioned the start of Genoa, and I would say that this could be potentially be decisive for Patrick Vieira's future. I'm not saying that he's going to be sacked on Monday if he does not win on the weekend, but the team, yes, winless after 6 games, sitting 19th in the table. His record after he took over in November last year reached 10 wins in 34 matches, although what they asked from him last season was to keep the team in Serie A, and he's done that without a problem. With Napoli, they produced a good defensive performance in the first half, because Napoli had the ball probably more than 70% of the time, but Genoa made it difficult for them to find spaces. But the second half it wasn't good, although they were ahead 1-0 with a great goal, to be honest, as well, from 𝐻𝐿, the Italy's under-21 striker, with a back heel. Goal was a magical finish, who resembled actually Ernest Crespo finishes. He used to score like that plenty of time with his back heel finish. But not creating chances is a huge problem for Genoa. It's just 3 goals so far, as you said. None of them in the 3 games they played at home this season. Actually, the player that has created the most of what is defined as big chances is Aaron Martin with 2, and he's a defender who is not actually playing, or at least he did not play the last game with Napoli. Between now and the end of November, the run of fixtures should allow Genoa to make their position a little bit better, as there are no top 8 teams in the horizon: Parma, Torino, Cremonese, Verona, Sassuolo, Cagliari, and Fiorentina. And for Parma, inconsistency is also the norm, as they couldn't build on the win against Torino, and the defeat with Lecce at the Ennio Tardini was a hard one to take. They lost 2 and drew 1 of their 3 games on the road. I find value on the draw here, Edu. That's my take, is a draw at 3.25.
and probably a low-scoring draw.
As well,
very
yeah.
likely. Next one is Atalanta. Lazio, talking about draws also. Atalanta drawing a lot of games for one of the teams unbeaten in this Serie A together with Juventus. So it's not a bad start, I would say, for Ivan Juric and Lazio. I would say they are having a tough start. It's only 7 points after the crazy draw that you mentioned against Torino. A lot of goals scored, by the way, in the last two games, because in their last trip they beat Genoa 3-0.
Yes, a little bit of an attacking threat for we are seeing from Sarri ball, but also defensively they're not doing great, and they are having as well injuries at that in that line. And Atalanta, yes, it seems like, well, that we are not talking too much about Ivan Juric is a good for Atalanta, that's for sure. And they're doing it in the context of injuries, so that draw against Como before the break, it wasn't too bad when you think that they had only 7 subs on the bench and 2 of them were goalkeepers. They managed to score first anyway with 𝐿𝐵𝐼, who scored his first league goal since October last season. But he was at the back of scoring the Champions League in that win from behind against Club Brugge. In that game, 𝗀𝗏𝗏 and 𝐿𝐵𝐼 started together for the first time. With Como was only 𝐿𝐵𝐼, with 𝐿𝐵𝐼 and Sulemana behind him. It wasn't anyway the greatest of game. They have just 1 shot on goal in the second half, Atalanta, and it's interesting what he's gonna do once the 𝗀𝗏𝗏 is fit to play again, because he's gonna have 5 players in the 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏, 𝐿𝐵𝐼, Sulemana, 𝐿𝐵𝐼 and 𝗀𝗏𝗏 for 3 positions. So 3 out of 5, I believe, if they're all fit, they're gonna be starting every single weekend. For Atalanta, 5 of the 6 games they play have been both teams to score. And now comes this Lazio, yes, who had already scored 10 times, but had conceded 7. And we know they're at the back of that crazy 3-3. The funny thing is that despite those 6 matches for Lazio having involved 17 goals, only 1 Lazio game was both teams to score, and that was actually the draw with Torino, of course. In that game, Matteo Cancellieri, the right winger, scored the first brace of his career. He has 3 goals in the last 2 games in Serie A. Injuries are a concern for Sarri. Boulaye Dia pulled out of Senegal qualifiers. Adam Marusic, a center half, is out too. We will see for sure the first start of the season for Isaacsen on the right wing, sharing the attack probably with Pedro, Cancellieri and Castellanos. So the firepower is there for Lazio to score. That's why my take is another combined one. Both teams to score, yes, plus goals over 2.5. These two together also 3.25.
Well, Atalanta, Lazio, and then we have a Milan, Fiorentina. If Patrick Vieira is in crisis, what to say about Pioli, Leo,
yeah,
under fire, and he's going back to the place where he won the Scudetto with Milan. Really poor start for Fiorentina, only 3 points. The opposite, we can say, about Allegri, about Milan. As you said before, they really deserve to win against Juventus, but despite the good moment of Milan, is not the start of the season that Leao was wishing. He hasn't been important at all.
No, and to be honest, it's interesting that it seems so far that Allegri is considering Rafa Leao as a number 9, not as a winger. I'm saying this because every time he comes on from the bench, he does it to replace Santi Giménez, who, yes, of course, he's struggling. Max Allegri was named manager of the month in September. He should have started October with a win in Turin against Juve. I think Allegri has shown so far, of course, that his focus is traditionally focused on defense, but he's not exclusively defensive, because the most interesting part of this Milan side is that it's entertaining. They're entertaining to watch. He's allowing Luka Modric to rule the world from midfield. Adrian Rabiot looks revitalized. Pulisic only fault so far was that penalty miss in Turin. And yes, again, they are doing this while focusing on their defensive record. Just only Roma has conceded less than Milan's 3 goals so far this season, but with the caveat, because Milan had faced Juventus, Napoli, Udinese, Bologna, and Lecce, and also Cremonese. All these teams together have scored 48 goals, and Milan only conceding 3 goals, whereas Gasperini's side face combined teams that score 33 times, 15 goals less. So well done for what he's doing, Max Allegri, defensively with this Milan. Santi Gimenez, as I said, continues to be the player who hasn't clicked yet. No goals for him and 7 big chances missed for the Mexican. He suffered with Mexico on the weekend as well. They were trashed 4-0 by Colombia. And Fiorentina crisis keeps deepening, that's for sure. And the only reason why Stefano Pioli won't be in trouble even with another defeat is because he's one of the highest paid managers in Serie A, and he signed a 3-year contract. With Roma was the second consecutive home game in which they scored first and lost the game. A point in San Siro, I think they will sign for that. If somehow they manage to take the 3 points, that will be the shock of Matchday 7, but I personally don't see that. The odds on Fiorentina to win are over 6, but my take here, Edu, is Milan to win plus goals over 1.5, odds of 1.98.
Well, they are still winless, only 3 points, really poor start for La Viola. And for Monday, we have Cremonese, Udinese, first defeat of the season for Cremonese, a big one against Inter. Anyway, it was a very good start of the season. Before that, 3 consecutive draws, and they have collected more points than Udinese with 8 points. At the moment, they drew with Cagliari. Both started the season on a high, Leo, and little by little going down.
Yes, look at the first defeat of the season for Cremonese, as you said. It came in style with that thrashing of Inter. And the same place of your sweetest memory sometimes could be the place of your worst nightmare, because in San Siro they won against Milan in their debut, and now that 4-0 against Inter. The second goal for Inter before halftime was a killer for David and Nicola's side, who are anyway comfortable in the table with those 9 points. Udinese continues to be winless at home after that 1-1 with Cagliari, which deserve a little bit more. But on the road is 2 wins in 3 games for Udinese, same as Napoli and Milan, for instance. Bardi was on the bench in San Siro, and I'm still waiting for his first Serie A goal for Cremonese. The odds show Udinese on top, and I agree with that view, Edu. I think Udinese to win is my take at 2.5.
Well, this is it, Leo. Thank you for your analysis in Matchday 7. Remember, guys, that we have our tipster competitions going on. We have a specific one for the Premier League. We have monthly ones, and also we have rivals, where you can create your own tipster competitions. Leo, let's finish the video as always with your safe bet.
Milan Fiorentina goals over 1.5, odds of 1.29.
And the ACCA?
I'm using the safe bet, Milan Fiorentina goals over 1.5, 𝐿𝐵 Juventus goals over 2.5, Atalanta Lazio, both teams to score yes, these 3 together, odds of 4.74.
Thank you very much, Leo. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.